Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we are talking about Star Wars Legion and the Rebels. We're talking about units we may see coming in the future. This is a predictions video. We kind of use some of the stuff that's been announced recently to kind of help inform what may be coming in the future, what may be under the hood, things we hope to see announced in maybe the end of this year or early to mid of 2023. And it'll be a fun kind of speculative video. We'll talk about my reasonings for some of these. And before you go any further, I want to hear from you guys. Pause the video. Let me know what you guys think is going to be coming down in the comments section, and we'll see if we get any of these right. And of course, if you want to keep the discussion further, I'd love to have you jump in our Discord. We got links for that as well as social media links in the description below. If you guys didn't know already, we are still doing a $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. We just started another round of that. So if you didn't win the last one, don't worry, you have a chance to win the next one. All you have to do is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this or one of my videos letting me know your favorite Rebel unit. What we're doing is also thanking our sponsor today for Luxury Playstyle. Has got these amazing tokens. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. Check out these tokens. Folks, these are awesome tokens. They're super shiny, gorgeous. They glisten under the lights. They are going to make your opponents really be like, wow, what are those? Where did you get those tokens? They're amazing. They're double-sided. You're going to save 15% if you use code Crabbok VIP. So head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. You are going to love these tokens. Also, they make great gifts and tournament prize support. So let your folks know that you want this for the holidays, or maybe get some of these for a loved one that you know that plays games like Star Wars Legion or X-Wing or Arkham Horror or L5R or Keyforge or Magic the Gathering. They have for all of this stuff. It's pretty cool stuff. So let's go ahead and get back to the topic. We're talking about Star Wars Rebels units that we expect to see. The first one that I'm going to put on this list might not be that popular amongst most of you, at least not most of your guesses. It's going to be General Reichen. He's a general, and the Rebels could use some more kind of administrative or support type characters. I think he'd be a good one to fit into the game. He could be maybe like a Veers type character. We got General Veers already, and General Veers is giving out AIM tokens. Maybe he could be, the first Rebel commander that's built to help out AIMs and to give out AIMs. Maybe he only gives out one AIM token, but he gives people the ability to spend AIM tokens in different ways. There's all kinds of different AIM shenanigans you could do with him that would kind of make him different than Leia, but maybe they'd also work well together. Plus, you could put him in Blizzard Force, right? You've got these new battle forces. You could add a new character that's now going to be in Blizzard Force and make those existing battle forces kind of expand a little bit. Like they built the battle forces in a way that they can be living documents. It's going to be very, very easy for them to add characters to battle forces. For example, like how the swoop bikes are, came out after the Shadow Collective, but yet it is also part of Kinbikun in Shadow Collective lists. So I think you do the same thing with somebody like General Reichen. I think it's a natural fit. Since we do also see other lightsaber characters starting to show up, I think this would be a great time to take advantage of one of those rebels that we have seen in video games, Castis, saber using, force rediscovering character who was a Padawan that saw his master get gunned down during Order 66, and he kind of escaped and made his way into the video games. And he's got another video game coming out too. So they're very, very cool. What, Jedi Survivor, they're calling it. So I think the time is right. I think Cal Kestis can absolutely show up in Star Wars Legion. They've certainly done video game characters before. We have Iden Versio and Inferno Squad in the game, so I don't see any reason why Cal Kestis wouldn't show up. He's certainly a popular character in a popular game franchise. It was a good game as well. So hopefully we get this dude showing up. There's not that many like Jedi rebels, right? And so it's like you have things like Sabine who can use the Darksaber but not the Force. Well, I don't know if you'd give Cal Kestis Master of the Force one. He could be more like a Commander Luke because he's still rediscovering it, right? And maybe there's room to do multiple versions of Cal Kestis. Maybe you do a version of him. Maybe you do kind of a weaker Cal Kestis who's like a Jedi in hiding, and then maybe you do the experience like Jedi Reborn, right? Like maybe he's the first character that's going to come out and have two different. Well, I guess he wouldn't be the first character to come out with multiple cards, because you do have this super tactical droid for the Separatists to have 3 versions. So he could be the first character to have 2 versions of himself, right? It's a possibility. It's something that I think of, but I'm curious what you guys think about Cal Kestis showing up. If we want characters that are able to melee, but maybe not necessarily force-wielding characters, I've got a great one for you. It's Enfys Nest. You know her, you love her from Solo, A Star Wars Story. One of the greatest outfits in the history of Star Wars, in my humble opinion. I think Enfys Nest would be the absolute best of all time to show up into this game with a rockin' miniature. I feel like AMG would not just hit a home run with this one, but hit a grand slam home run with this one. I just feel like there's so much going on with Enfys Nest's costume that AMG could make this one an absolute spectacular miniature, maybe miniature of the year. So this would be a pretty cool one. Plus, there's just a whole lot of things I think that kind of work in the game. For one, she'd be a female leader. There's not as many of those. You have Jyn and you have Leia, and but like I feel like so much of the stuff we have in the Empire and the Republic right now Empire and the Rebellion are from the original Star Wars, which was still pretty male dominated at the time, and so it kind of is another good way to get some diversity in there. And not that I think that that's absolutely crucial, but I think corporate wise, I think it's more likely because I think it'll play better to all the way the world is, right? Like sometimes it's just good. Sometimes it's just good for business to have more diverse characters in your game, and I don't have any problem with that. But on top of all that, it's just a cool character, cool weapon set. She also has a whole band of marauders, and they ride stuff. They ride those bikes. You could do there's a lot of stuff you could do with Enfys Nest to really, really make it work for Star Wars Legion. So it's not just that she's a cool character. It's also that she's got a great battle force capabilities. I think that's just a really cool thing. You could easily have her own battle force for her marauders, and it'd be a way to get more stuff from Solo, A Star Wars Story into the game, which is something I know a lot of people definitely want to see. Going after Enfys Nest, we'll get back into the Force a little bit. We got Kanan and Ezra, but not just Kanan and Ezra. How about all the rest of the Rebels crew? All right, we've got Ahsoka already announced she's coming, and she's Star Wars Rebels era Ahsoka. We've got Sabine already in game. How about Hera and Chopper? Or how about just a one pack that has all of them? I don't know if it'd be one pack because Sabine came by herself. I could see maybe Zeb by himself. I could see Hera and Chopper together, and I could see Kanan and Ezra together. I could see that being a very real thing. They may want to wait. They may want to do it now. I figure with the Ahsoka show coming out and the cast of Rebels coming to the Ahsoka show in live action, although I don't know if Zeb is going to be in live action. That would be something cool, though. It'd be really, really cool. I'd love to see that. But so many of these characters are getting ready to show up in live action, and that's a really exciting thing. It might be a really, really good time to be working on these guys as they were in Star Wars Rebels for Star Wars Legion right now, so they can come out in close proximity to the Ahsoka show coming out, because they'll be very, very popular. They'll be trending. It'll be good for business. It'd be good for the number sheets as well. I think it was just everything would line up. The stars would line up to say this is a good time to get these characters out. So I would bet that they're probably in the works right now, just behind the curtain. Don't pull back the curtain, because I bet you these guys are being worked on right now. That's my guess. Let me know if you agree. Going back to the movies, I wish we got some more Star Wars movies. Let's go to Baze and Chirrut. I feel like this could be a great 2-pack. We've got counterparts already, and they'd make good counterparts of each other. You could potentially also come up with, individual heavy weapon options, so these could go into individual heavy trooper options. They also could be heavies that can be in a core unit or Rebel Pathfinders. Wouldn't it be great if they were Pathfinder options? You can run 3 Pathfinders in a Rebel list, but there's only 2 heavies. Both heavies for the Pathfinders are uniques. Pathfinders could use, first off, they have no generic heavy. And that's okay. Maybe you give them 2 more unique heavies. Maybe you give them a Baze and a Chirrut heavy that can both go into Pathfinder units, or you give them their own unit where one is a counterpart of the other. I feel like Baze would be Chirrut Imwe would be the leader, and Baze would be the counterpart. I think that's kind of how I would imagine it, and they could be an extremely powerful unit, and maybe expensive if you had them both together. If you had, oh man, because they were like some of the coolest characters in all of Rogue One, and it's really surprised me that they haven't shown up in game yet. I'd love to see them show up. Switching gears from movie live action to TV live action, I want to see, well, both animated and live action, but more recently live action. I want to see Bo-Katan. I want to see her in the game. I think she's amazing, and I absolutely cannot wait to see Bo-Katan show up. Now, Bo-Katan is one of those characters that can show up in probably just about every faction in the game. But I think Rebels is probably the first place that we'll see her. I could be wrong. Could be in a lot of different places. She could be in Death Watch. You know, she could be in Republic, possibly. Right? Like if you look at where they put her in X-Wing, I think she was just about in almost everywhere. I think the Empire is the only faction she wasn't in. But I think Rebels makes the most sense for recent things and what's recognizable and what's popular right now. And you know, again, got the awesome face sculpt. You got the awesome helmet. You can do helmeted option. You can do non-helmeted option. You could even have her lead the Night Owls. You could have, I really want more Mandalorians. I would love for there to be a Mandalorian sub-faction that allows you to run a full Mandalorian build. Although that does sound fun, but also potentially completely overpowered. So there'd have to be some very, very interesting balancing. Like how do you make that a build that isn't just completely broken? All right, and so I don't know. I'm not curious. Or I'm curious how how playtesting would go for something like that, and what kind of balancing factors they'd have to do. Like maybe you end up with like a whole list that's only like 5 activations, right? Like maybe Mandalorian only list, but you can only run 5 units, so you better load them to the gills, and then hope you don't lose. You know, hope you don't take too many hits. You know, hope you don't get too many hits that go through. And maybe that's all. Maybe it's like that ultimate glass cannon build. Like we're very, very, very effective. But if any hits get through, if we roll any blank, if we roll too many blank red dice, game is over. You know. But I think it could be a fun list. I mean, Mandos are fun to play, and they're potentially extremely effective. So I just really enjoy the way they are in the game. They can also be a really bad, feels bad if you just like one shot can potentially take out an entire Mandalorian unit if if your saves are bad enough. But so that's like they're not the ultimate unit, but they're not easy to kill. But the luck they tend to have only like 3 minis in a unit. It can go badly very quickly sometimes. But I enjoy the Mandos, so it'll be fun. All right, so we got Bo-Katan. Let's go back to Rogue One and everything else. It's Saw Gerrera. I'm thinking maybe Saw Gerrera somewhere between Rogue One and Star Wars Rebels, somewhere kind of in that mindset. Now, I know that there's other things that are going to be kind of revealed depending on when you watch this. I'm not going to be talking about anything from Andor, even though this dude was in the trailer, right? So I don't want to get into like Andor specific stuff. I'm not getting into spoilers or anything like that. So I'm really looking because again they couldn't start. If this was going to be coming out soon, it couldn't have had anything more recent in it. But I think you're likely to see like a Saw Gerrera from Rogue One, or maybe a Saw Gerrera from the Clone Wars, maybe Saw Gerrera from even Star Wars Rebels, because he had 2 appearances in Star Wars Rebels. So I think there's a lot of options for Saw Gerrera. Also, a lot of Battle Force options. Battle Forces are a really important thing, and I think with his partisans, you can have new core options. You can put a Borgullet in the game if you had Saw Gerrera. I'd love to have him have some kind of reverse bounty system, some kind of like extremism keyword. I mean, like I think you can easily make Saw Gerrera work with a flaw card, maybe even multiple flaw cards. But at the same time, what if he has a command card that does a really strong attack, but as a result of it, it gives your opponent a victory point, right? That's kind of how he plays. Like, he plays this way in Star Wars Rebellion. If you can start out with Saw Gerrera as an extra leader, but you set yourself back one. Like, you start off losing a victory point. And the idea is that, like, whoa, the rebels are getting kind of desperate. They might not win the hearts and minds of the people if they keep embracing Saw Gerrera's fanaticism. And I feel like that's a really great way to represent with victory points in the game, like Star Wars Legion has. I think Saw Gerrera is a very, very fun and interesting character that could fit extremely well into this game with, like, fanaticism type of attacks. And maybe it's like, hey, look, I had to. I was going to take him off the board. I had to eliminate Darth Vader, and I had to use this type of extreme attack, and maybe it was such a large explosion that it damaged some nearby homes and hurt some of the people, so we're not winning their hearts and minds, but I stopped Darth Vader, so it was worth it. Like that's kind of the idea of this. So it'd be an interesting way to run Saw Gerrera and Legion. All right, I'm going to go to my final answer, but before I give you my final answer, I want to hear from you guys. What is your guess for my number one pick? You can pause the video. You can go ahead and let it down in the comments. Let me know. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. All right, it is Obi-Wan Kenobi, aka Old Ben Kenobi. I want to see Rebel Kenobi. I want to see, basically the Tatooine Ben Kenobi. And there's so much to talk about here because I don't know if you do it Alec Guinness style. I don't know if you kind of borrow from Ewan McGregor. Maybe you do kind of a hybrid. Like they're similar enough in appearance where I feel like you can get away with either of them. And I kind of feel like I want this one. But I wouldn't mind if his sculpt is a little bit more like maybe a little more blended with a little bit of Ewan McGregor, but I still want it to be more clearly this one right here. And I just think it'd be so cool. There's so many options I think you could do with him, and I think you could call him Ben Kenobi, so it could be a totally different character, but then he wouldn't get Obi-Wan Kenobi's command cards. If maybe you don't want him to have hello there, maybe you don't want him to have General Kenobi, maybe you don't want him to have those command cards, but maybe you do. And here's a way to potentially do that. Maybe you still call him Obi-Wan Kenobi. And maybe with his cards, maybe he's got a 3-pip. It's a divulge or something like that. Maybe it has a permanent, but it's called Ben Kenobi is the name of a command card. Maybe it's a 3-pip. Maybe it must be played first round or something like that. Maybe it's got a permanent. And it gives Ben Kenobi, it allows him to deploy it allows him to deploy anywhere on the map, like you often see, like with infiltrate. But maybe it also gives him incognito. I think that'd be a really fun way to run him. He can go down anywhere, but he's incognito. You don't want to get too close to other people. And it's permanent because you might stay incognito for more than one turn. Of course, you're going to lose incognito, right? But yeah, like the idea of just hiding in plain sight, like where he's there, like wait, and it would even be a joke, like, well, I know where you deployed, I know where you are. Maybe he doesn't gain incognito until he activates. So your opponent, if they beat you, because maybe it's a 3-pip, maybe if they go first, they actually still have a shot to shoot you. I'm like, no, we know, we like how many times they almost found him and stuff like that. So, I think there's a lot of really fun ways to do it. And if you do that, I wouldn't mind, especially after seeing Kenobi. I don't want to do too many spoilers, but I think by this time most everybody's probably seen Kenobi. But just in case you haven't, I won't try to do direct spoilers. But it would make sense for him to be able to still use Obi-Wan Kenobi's command cards, especially if you made Rebel Obi-Wan Kenobi's cards only playable by Rebels. So like they kind of did that with Maul and the Shadow Collective, say you must nominate, Shadow Collective Maul. This one they could just say you must nominate Rebel Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then of course then it's fixed. But yeah, but I could see him potentially getting his, getting his stuff back. Maybe part of his thing is during the first 2 rounds he can only play Rebel Obi-Wan Kenobi command cards. Maybe he doesn't get a chance to play the Obi-Wan Kenobi ones until later on. Maybe he's got to kind of remember what he once knew, and you kind of get a little hints of that in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So like that would be a great way to make him back and in the Rebels and also thematic. But of course he could also have a sacrifice command card where like he dies and becomes a Force ghost. I love the way they did this in Star Wars Destiny. If you guys have ever played that game, Star Wars Destiny, fun game. Obi-Wan, like if Obi-Wan died, he'd become a Force ghost, and then his dice would then go on to another character, so you could have him help another Jedi. So he would in the Rebels, he worked really like he would work really well with Luke, or like with other Jedi too. He could potentially help out a Kanan or an Ezra also. So a lot of room, a lot of great options for a potential Obi-Wan Kenobi. He probably wouldn't be as strong as Clone Wars era Obi-Wan Kenobi. Maybe only having critical 1, maybe only having 5 dice instead of 6. Like there's a lot of things like that you could do, but definitely give him like mind trick. Let him do stuff with suppressed enemies. Let him do all kinds of cool stuff like that. Give him Master of the Force. Maybe Master of the Force 2. I think you could justify that. I think that's reasonable. Or maybe Master of the Force 1, but maybe he's got a command card that's permanent. It gives him Master of the Force 2, so he's like slowly relearning things. There's a lot of cool things you could do with a character like this. But I think it'd be fun. But I want to hear what you guys think. Let me know, was there anything I missed? Is there anything that you think should be coming to the Rebels that isn't yet announced? I mean, we've already got Ewoks. We've already got Ahsoka coming. We've already got Din Djarin and IG-11. There's probably other stuff from The Mandalorian already coming. There's probably going to be other stuff from Cassian Andor's show, like, that will eventually come out too. But I think we're still years away from that, because once something gets revealed, that's kind of like the first step that... Generally, that's when like FFG or AMG would start working on something for Star Wars Legion, is after they've seen it. It's like a lot of times it's not like they get, hey, you guys get to watch the show 6 months early. They don't really get that. If it's something special, then sometimes they'll give them some specifics, like the Starhawk was able to kind of come out like at Fantasy Flight Camp. They could do the Starhawk for Star Wars Armada first, and so like every once in a while they'll get early access to specific units. But for a whole show, they're not going to let that go. So that's why we're just now getting stuff from The Mandalorian season 1 for Star Wars Legion. It's coming out next month because of the tremendous lead time. So these are the things that I think are likely to be coming out or announced by the end of this year, or hopefully early to mid next year. But let me know what you guys think. I will talk to you guys later. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Also, big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this channel possible. So thank you for continuing to support the channel. You guys rock and roll. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. Wash your socks. And goodbye there.